Good morning, friends. Welcome to Jeannie's Journey. I just finished Numbers 4, and it is about the Levites and what their duties were. But before I start on it, let's see if I can show you this without tearing up all my stuff over here. This is just a picture drawn out for the tabernacle. So this fencing kind of stuff, it's covered with fabric. We've got different pieces like the bronze altar and such. This is the actual tent of meeting where Aaron and his sons were the only ones allowed to go in there and see the holy furnishings like the lampstand, the showbread, things of that nature. And it was also covered with some fabrics. And then there's a wall or a partition or whatever that separates the actual Ark of the Covenant to the other holy furnishings. So all of this was part of the tabernacle. So I just want to make sure that, I just want to show you this first so that you can see how massive the chapter is when they're talking about the Levites. So, Numbers 4. Sorry. This chapter, God is narrowing his focus to the working age men. He's asking for another census, but this time it is for working age males from the other three Levite clans, the Kohath, Gershon, and Merari. It details specific physically demanding and spiritually intense protocol required to pack up, transport, and protect the holy elements of the tabernacle when the camp moves in the wilderness, because everything was mobile. They moved around. So in verses 1 through 20, the Kohathites, verses 1 through 20, the Kohathites, they had the burden of the most holy things within the tabernacle. The working age man was from ages 30 to 50. They considered at the peak of a man's physical strength, intellectual maturity, and discipline. Spiritual as well. The Kohathites are assigned the duty of the most sacred furniture of the tabernacle, the ark, the table of showbread, the lampstand, the golden altar. And from Heart Dive, Kanoe points out, I think I said her name right. Kanoe points out that Jesus and John the Baptist entered the ministry at around or at the age of 30 years old. So that's significant for the working age man. Before the Kohathites could even touch the poles to carry the furniture, that was, it had to be covered in durable leather. Now, in one of my Bibles, it says seal skin. This particular Bible just says durable leather. But it could have been goat skins, something that was durable, right? So, and other textiles, like they had to put just different coverings over different things. And it was durable, waterproof, and shielded the gold that was underneath it. Because everything that's on the inner part of the sanctuary was either hammered pure gold or it was gold overlaid the acacia wood. The Kohathites were forbidden to even look at it without the coverings. Aaron and his sons had to have it completely concealed, completely covered before any of the transport could begin, before they could even enter the tent to start gathering the stuff. If they saw it or touched it, they would die. Total weight was around 600 to 900 pounds among 2,750 Kohathites. So that's how many working age men, able working age men that there were in that particular clan. In this chapter, God warns Moses and Aaron they will die. I think I highlighted it at least 3 times. Don't let them see it. Don't let them touch it, without the covering, or they're going to die at least 3 times. God was protecting them, showing mercy. The furnishings were The furnishings were wrapped up and hidden under plain, ordinary, weather-beaten materials. To the casual passerby, that somebody was coming by and sees this massive group of people, 2 to 2.5 million people in the desert, the cargo looked plain and unattractive. They had no idea what was underneath it, or what was hidden underneath it, like the pure gold. Jesus masked his radiant divine glory in ordinary human flesh. Then in verses 21 through 28, the Gershonites, their census or the number of working age men from them was 2,630. The Gershonites were responsible for the curtains. Now remember in my picture, they didn't have fence, but the boundary that enclosed the sanctuary, goodness, I can't speak. It was fabric. It was linen, different yarns, different things embroidered on it. So they were responsible for carrying the curtains, the massive tent coverings, the multi-layered screens, and the ropes. The Gershonites had to fold linens and pack up these ropes under the blazing desert sun. So it's not something to say, oh yeah, we'll just fold this up. These things were massive. They were huge. Every folded curtain was an act of worship. God notices the small details in all the tasks that are done for his glory. Jesus completely revolutionized our understanding of glory by choosing the path of an unglamorous servant. He didn't demand a palace. He served. He washed the feet of his disciples, proving that true kingdom greatness is found in unseen service. Verses 29 through 30 are the Merarites. They were responsible for the framework. So in order to hang those curtains, you got to have the framework for it. They just weren't, you ever tried to hang a curtain, you have to have the curtain rod. The sons of Merari are tasked with the heaviest, most mechanical logistics of the entire camp. I think I saw, when I was looking, and for some reason I didn't write it down, but I think the entire weight of all the framework stuff was like 6 to 9 tons, spread out between 3,200 people. They include the pillars, the crossbars, the frames, the bases, pegs, and cords that formed the skeletal structure of the tabernacle, the outside and the tent of meeting and all that. Everyone had a role, and each one is important. And that's still true today. The ark and the furnishings, so like the ark and the other furnishings that had to be shielded on the inner part of the tent of meeting, they needed the curtains and the fabrics for it. On the curtains and the fabrics was the framework, like the crossbars to hold it up, the pillars to hold it up, each corner piece. If you think about somebody, building a fence. If you ever had a fence built, they have to have, whether it's privacy or the metal kind, they have to have those poles going around it so that you can hang the fence on it or nail the fence to it. 1 Corinthians 12:22, it says, the parts of the body that seem weaker are indispensable. Christ is the pillar that holds the entire global church together. He holds us together so that we don't collapse. He's our framework. So my reflection for this is as I was reading through it and I was researching and stuff, people have a tendency to focus on the big moments. God has called us or them to do. People that are like in the spotlight or whatever. But this chapter reminds me that every single role is important. For example, with John's cancer, so I'm going to confess to you, I am his mother. I am, I guess at one time, maybe I was a little bit overbearing. Because I like to have control. Maybe I was overbearing. I don't know. You'll have to ask my son. But I wanted to go to everything. I wanted to go to every doctor's appointment. I wanted to be there. Because don't know, maybe I didn't really trust him telling all the things that the doctor said, and I just want to hear it for myself. That's just kind of my personality. But even through that journey, as I was like, I felt like I wasn't doing anything because I wasn't going to his doctor's appointments. It was him and his wife. I had Georgia. I had, his dogs. I had the responsibility of doing other things. And even his dad, stepped in. But my son, I remember him telling me that even though I couldn't go, Georgia was the most precious cargo. Her well-being, her emotional support, her stability, the routine of everything, and those unseen roles. And this is just an example. And his dad stepping in because he had to watch Georgia a couple times because I had appointments for my well-being. But those hidden things, it held us all together. We each had a role. We each had a purpose in to support John and Lainey in their battle for the cancer itself. It still took me a while to say, I was like, I just want to go. He's my son. But, I mentioned in another video that, I said something about him and his family. They're my family too. But when your children become older and they get married, they become one flesh. And as a parent of an adult child, we kind of just have to step back and on the sidelines, kind of. And that's really, y'all, that's just how it goes. That's how life is. He had his wife. And another friend told me that I would want my mom to go if I had my wife there. And I was like, oh. Anyway, I digress. So God assigned me and his father, his grandmother, to carry the beams of our family so that John and his wife could devote their energy to fighting the cancer itself. Ordinary moments become holy to God because they're done in love. So now John has received an initial report where he has an appointment coming up soon. So what's my assignment now? What is my assignment that God has entrusted in my hands today? Because the Levites didn't choose their assignments. They just carried whatever God placed in their hands. Nobody was confused about what they were supposed to do. Or wandering around just, aimlessly. I believe my assignment is just to remain faithful. Keep praying. Keep loving. Keep encouraging others who are hurting. My role is not in the spotlight. And I actually like it better that way when I'm not in the spotlight. Doing this video is so out of character for me. It reminds me, my pastor once told me that I like to stay behind the fence. We grew up together. We were, I lived across the street from his grandmother. And my mom being as strict as she was, I was not allowed to go out and play a whole lot. She was protecting me. And he said, I would always just see you behind the fence. And I do that a lot in my adult life too. Sometimes I just stay behind the fence because I am safe there. I'm learning to get out in front of that fence. This is one of the ways I'm getting out in front of that fence. Because I think it's important to share with you the love God has shown me. To share with you my pains and my trials, my hurts, the way I would still live in uncertainty, and a lot of things. And it's okay. You're not alone. There are other people that have gone through something extremely similar that you've gone through. So, again, me being behind the fence, out of the spotlight. That's more my personality. So this is really, really different. But if I am faithful with what God has given me, then I am exactly where He wants me to be. And when we embrace our assignment, whatever that is, whether it's in the spotlight, whether it's unseen or hidden, we fulfill our true purpose. We bring the light to people wandering in the dark. And that's our main goal, is just to be the light. Peace and blessings. I love you. Bye.